There he goes. Hey friends, so we're out here in the forest, cutting a tree or two. Great practice for Luke. I think, you know, it's a tricky one these days, even with Alexander, because technology has such great advantages and applications for learning and entertainment to an extent. But problem today is that most lads are totally entertained by their digital devices rather than having, you know, a good finger in the natural pie out here, you know. And there's so many benefits to the physical and mental well-being. If you haven't heard me talk about earthing and grounding and the values of being in the sun gazing even at the safe times of the day, look into those things yourself. But yeah, I can see it with my older boy Luke here. You know, his core strength has suffered, and mine had done too. You know, by the time I left the office, I was a little bit doughy, you know, and a little soft. But a few years of, you know, hard labor or some physical work, you know, it can easily redress that for most of us. And the younger you are, of course, the easier. And the older you are, you know, the more gently you want to return to that kind of wellness, that kind of physical connection to your own avatar.
Where'd you go?
I think it's time to go. Something missing at the top of the pyramid. Perhaps it's you and me. We're missing from the top of the pyramid. Our place has been usurped. Time is coming to remember and return. Hey friends, as you can see, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. Well, between a rock and a rock. And my friend Russianvids was stuck in a bit of a hard place as well, because the last two videos I did with him were demonetized due to my foul language. I may have said words that Al Gore's rhythm did not like, and therefore he decided, good sense really, to pull them from his main channel and drop them onto his backup. So if you missed those last two chats with RV, they, I think 13 hours worth of conversation, there or thereabouts. Yeah, feel free to go and check them out on his backup channel. I'm not sure the name of it actually, now that I think about it. Thanks for the feedback from folks who've watched that, and I hope it's been of some use to you. I realize that, you know, some of the topics I was talking about I haven't actually thought about for quite some time, and so I'm a bit rusty, or my train of thought is not clear, and some of the key value elements of why I think these things or information I've found, I kind of forgot on the day. So I'll probably try and go around some of these things again. You know, I haven't spoken about a bunch of topics, and DMT was one of them that came up, and it frightens the heck out of the religious, some of the religious types, because you know, we're told in religion, as I was, that these things are not to be messed with, even though we're commanded to try all things. And these things are not, I'm not encouraging people to try unnatural things, man-made poisons like cocaine, things like that. But I always caution that they are done reverentially and in the right setting, in the right situation, not to be done in a bad, low vibe kind of time for you. And speaking of low vibe, I think that you know, this idea of harmonizing the energy centers within yourself is like the key thing that we should be trying to achieve at this time. The government, you know, the way of the world at the moment is offering people the opportunity for stillness, and we can choose that, or we can get caught up in the world and the swirl of everything that's going on. It seems to me the agenda is to keep people in some form of distress or disturbance for their various areas of consternation about the nature of things, and this is understandable. But I think for a time, for the next little while at least, we really should seek to hold ourselves in good balance. I was listening to Martin Kenny actually just the other day, and something he said really resonated with me. You know, a lot of the stuff that he's saying actually it matches with the stuff I've been feeling, so it's really nice to have it kind of affirmed by someone else who's thinking deeply on some of these subjects. I think he's realized from his own experience that you don't really want to be snatching and grabbing at things at this moment in time and trying to sort of do some deep cleanse on yourself, you know, and so on. It's or move house right now. I mean, if you're in the middle of that, then good luck, and try and do it in a trusting way so that you don't cause yourself too much pressure and disturbance at this time. I think over the coming not stellium, conjunction, there's good energies about. You know, talking to RV reminded me that actually there's a lot of folks who didn't go to these classes about the electromagnetic nature of the world and the interconnectedness of the roof and the floor. And I stumbled into talking about cymatics and vibration plates, and because I can't see the chat, I don't know how it goes, but you know, my sense is for the audience, that kind of stuff needs a lot of deeper background before you can just go, oh yeah, okay, I can see that. But for me, I can see how these rocks that I'm sitting between could have been brought to this height by a cymatic event, and in the way that I explained to RV, that if you took a cymatic plate with salt on it and magnified it up many millions of times to get it to the size of the known plane of Earth, then the grains of salt would be as big as these monsters that I'm sitting around. And it's also possible and feasible that they form into very tidy, neat geometric shapes, which we now call terraces, and we farm them. So that's, you know, that's just, but again, these things aren't necessarily essential to know. And it's not like I'm trying to say, oh, if you don't know this, then you know, you're missing out, and you're not going to have the right knowledge to pass the test or the gate. I'm not saying that at all. I think we all have the right stuff to pass through the gate. But Martin was saying, and I hadn't really thought about it like this before. But like, if you think about the chakras as a series of pipes or rings, I suppose. I don't know if he said it like this, but I think of them as a series of rings. And those rings down your spine, all 7 of them, need to be in a state of perfect alignment in order for your antenna to be in the right condition. It could be that the V scenes that they're trying to stab everybody with have some impact on your vibratory receptors, and it could be a bit of a downer if you go that route. So maybe that's part of that. But in terms of your 7 chakras, that they down the spine through the head, they need to be in alignment. So that really struck a chord with me. And so that's like all of them being in balance. And he said something else that I found fascinating, was that, you know, people have been striving to get out of acidity into alkalinity, and rather actually we should be balanced between the acid and alkaline. And that makes sense to me too, you know, just like a swimming pool, pH neutral, and just like the earth is neutral, or Nut, the great mother. So our heart is the neutral place, isn't it? So it got me thinking, okay, so that's the center, and that's the neutral, and that's where we should be actually looking to go for. But it got me thinking that actually that's just like the y-axis, and there's an x-axis to your aura or your torus field as well. And there's probably more, or, you know, you could say, oh, there's a third, but primarily I think there's two, an x and a y-axis. And so then in your center, you're balanced, but also in your up and down, your heart, to you know, your balance as well. And funny enough, if you inscribe those two axes, the X and the Y, and you run them down the spine and through the heart, you create a cross, the Christian cross, you know. And that's the balance, and maybe that that's the balance, that's the cross, that's the center, that's Eden. And so you don't want to be too ethereal, too like all in the I'm talking to the Palladians and I'm meditating for 37 hours a day. You don't have to be that. Or, you know, all I'm drinking at the moment is air. You know, so you don't have to be that. But you certainly, I don't think, want to be out partying and so on. And I think that's what this shutdown and so on has actually given us, is like a grand opportunity to shut down, to close like all these little fires that we used to keep burning. I mean, the first lockdown would have stopped. If you were having an affair in the first lockdown, it would have been impossible, very difficult and very challenging to kind of make that work. So all of those things started to break down for people, and now businesses are breaking down, and, you know, people are being forced home. You know, and I think you can go home and do this kind of stillness and self work and balancing, or you can be, you know, caught up in trying to keep the affair going somehow, you know. So those are my thoughts for now, as I'm hoping that you know, I'm able to maintain I intend to maintain really good balance over the coming weeks through to the 21st and beyond. As I mentioned on the RV channel, the time on the bus is nearing an end here in Portugal. I'm not sure if our time in Portugal is nearing the end, because I still have, you know, ambitions, but my ambitions are secondary to what the creator, or what this journey has brought me to, and has brought us to, and has caused us to walk. So if you are aware of any you know, vacant property somewhere, then feel free to get in touch. My email is it's Trinity4Man, I'm using the number 4, Trinity4Man@gmail.com. In the last few days, we have received £150 from people, very kind donations. I think one guy sent $100. So yeah, that's the second time that's happened in the last 3 weeks since I spoke with RB. So aside from having 300 new subscribers, which is massive in my YouTube thing. So again, thank you so much for your kindness, all of you who've sent some money through the PayPal, which is Trinity's at gmail.com. Yeah, we are still in that state where you know, additional funding is required to kind of see us through to the new year, and to see us through whatever's coming next. If you're in a position to help us out, then, you know, thank you very much. If not, again, well, for everyone, I hope that the information is useful. I will try and bring more to you in the coming days. Wow, Portugal is beautiful. of that, there is little doubt. Stunning, stunning scenery and landscapes. Rock formations, breathtaking. Of course, there's many places in the world that can boast such places, because such beauty, because we live in Eden. This is Eden, or perhaps it was. So let's take it back. It's our sovereign divine birthright, as far as I can tell. No squabbles, no whatever. Just the truth. Anyway, have a good one. Chat soon.